We're going to be changing out a window regulator on a 07 Honda Accord. It's going to be the front and driver's side regulator. It's going to be fairly simple. First thing we're going to do is get our door panel off. We're going to have screws behind this cover down in here, and we're also going to want to pop our little trim piece off right here. So we'll hop into it. Now, you're going to need a clip tool or screwdriver. I prefer a clip tool. We've got two different styles right here. We got this green one and our orange one. Our orange one's going to be our no mar, so it shouldn't scratch anything up depending on how you use it. The metal one's a little bit stouter. I like using it for the actual door panel itself. I'll post a link to these in the description. Super handy to have. You're going to want your tape your window up. And I think these are going to be Phillips head screws. So when you look in here, you'll have a little slot. You better stick your little tool in, and that'll pop right out. You pick that up and set it in the car. You're gonna have two Phillips heads there. Take a little tool here, pull a little cover up. You're gonna have another Phillips head right there. Toss that one in the car. And we're gonna see if we can pop our little trim panel right here off. Looks like somebody's already been in there. Just like that. It's just got little clips holding that thing in there. No big deal. Set that in the car so you don't lose it. Alright, so now we're going to take the screws out. Alright, so now I believe we're going to be ready to pop our panel off. With any car, you want to go around the edges of your panel. Make sure you don't feel any more screws. A lot of times we'll hide them underneath these little covers right here, underneath the actual window switch itself. That one doesn't really feel like it wants to pop out, so maybe there's nothing there. So what I like to do is, I like to come down to the bottom corner of our panel, and we're going to stick this clip tool in there, back behind it, and pop it loose. You'll have push pins holding this thing in, so we'll give that a shot. Just like that. Work our way around. Now their little suction cup they've got holding their window up, it's going to be in our way, so I'm going to put some tape on it so we don't have to worry about it falling. Pop our little suction cup off. Now we should be ready to pick our panel up. Just like that. Now let's see if this has got the cable. This does have the cable. And I'll try to show y'all how to undo this cable here in a second. Undo, done. Undo our wire. Our window switch connectors want to be a little bit aggravating. There it is. Alright. One more wire. It's going to be for our light right there. We'll unplug it. Take our clip tool. Pop this connector loose. I'm going to go ahead and unplug this light. Set it in the car. That way you don't get hot and burn anything. Alright. So now in your car here, this is actually a door latch cable right here. It's got a clip here and right here. And the way that works, this is going to be kind of backwards looking at it. The green clip slides in this slot right here. Then the metal on the end of the cable, it's going to slide in right here, and this little plastic latch, it'll slide over and lock onto it. So I'll try to pick that camera up and get y'all a good image of that whenever we're putting her back together. But other than that, you'll just reach down here and unplug your electrical connectors, undo your little light, pop it loose, and we've got it off. So we'll set this in the back of the car so it'll be safe. Alright, so now we've got to get behind our moisture barrier here. So I'm going to get some razor blade, and we're going to cut. There's going to be glue all the way around this. And we're going to cut that glue, that way we can put this back on and not damage it. If you try to pull it, more than likely you're going to rip it. We're also going to go ahead and take probably 1 or 2 screws out of this little bracket, move it out of the way, and that'll be it. So I'll get back to you whenever we get the razor blade and get that bracket off. Alright, so we got a razor blade, and all you're going to do is pull back to where you can see the glue and just cut the glue. You might have to hold the door open with your knee when you're pulling. Put a little bit of tension. Be careful not to cut yourself. So as you can see, getting the glue off there, we're going to do that probably all the way to down here, same way over there, leave that bottom attached, that way we can leave the plastic hanging. And once I got that all cut out of the way, we'll get into actually removing the regulator itself. Alright, so we've got our moisture barrier out of the way. Now, we're going to have to move this window down to where you'll see 2 bolts right here, and that'll actually unbolt the window from the regulator. So I'm hoping, as bad as this one is, we'll be able to take our tape loose and just kind of push it down. If not, there's going to be metal cables in here, which I'll show you whenever we get the regulator out. You can get in there and cut those, the little metal cables that go on the regulator. That'll free your window up so you can move it by hand. But for right now, we'll see if we can't get lucky and move the window by hand. I believe we might. Alright, so we want right there to where you can get to those bolts. Get our tape back in place. So hopefully our window won't move too much. Go ahead and stick another piece of tape on here. Fresh piece. Alright, so try to move this camera over a little bit for y'all so you can see a little bit better. Sorry about bumping you around. So you're gonna have your 2 bolts, one here, one here. We're gonna take those out. They're gonna be, looks like 10 millimeters. Pop them out, regulator drop. Once they're out, we'll go ahead and move our window back up, and we'll unbolt the regulator and replace it. Alright, so we're going to zip these 2 bolts out real quick. I actually have to pick the window up just a hair. Regulator drop. And take the tape loose once again. Move our window all the way back up. Take it back in place. Now we're going to remove, looks like, that bolt, that bolt, that bolt. These 2 and the bottom 2 down there. And this whole regulator should come out. So Try to do this to stay out of y'all's way. Set them in the car. Alright. So now the fun part. Let's see if we can do this without getting y'all's way too much. I believe our regulator's going to have to come out that little bitty hole right there. So that's going to work on. But also, sorry y'all. And that hole right there, the wire's going in. More than likely they're going to go to our regulator. So we'll reach in down to that hole and undo the connector. And then once we do that, loosen this bad boy up. We'll come back over here and try to pull our regulator out from that hole right there. So, sorry about shaking y'all, but so we've got it unplugged. Now I'm going to try to see if I can reach in here. And there it is. Now these are the cables I was telling you about. You can cut. They'll be running up and down this regulator. But if you can't move your window up and down because your regulator is bound up so bad, you can take and cut these and it should free it. Allow you to move it where you need it to be. Alright, so we're going to get a new regulator out, check it, make sure it looks like this one, and we'll get to putting it in. Alright, so we've made sure our regulator is the right one. Now we're going to have to fish this whole assembly back in there to that little bit hole. So what I'm trying to do is put the bottom in through first. And we'll make sure your brackets right here, they bolt up to your door panel, so make sure these are facing your door panel out towards you. So we're going to try to see if we can't maybe roll this thing up. And get it in there. Move this wire out of our way. You want to be easy with it. There she goes. Back up where it's supposed to be at. Set it down in there. Alright, so I'm going to zoom out so y'all can see me putting these bolts in. Now you really don't want to try to force this regulator in there, because what you're hitting is the outside of your door skin. So if you get to beating it in there and everything else and you shut your door and you're like, oh my god, there's dents on the outside of my door, that would be why. So don't do that. Just step in y'all's way real quick. Step back to y'all's way real quick. Alright, so now we're going to bolt her up. Just going to grab the regulator itself. Line up some of my bolt holes. There's one. There's one on the bottom. Well, there you go. I got butterfingers today, I guess. I'll just grease off this window. Alright, so now we're going to hop over here and we're going to put our 3 bolts in our window motor, and we're going to go ahead and plug it back up. It just It's sitting right here to plug up right there, not a big deal. We've already got our 2 bolts out of the bottom of the door that we dropped when we was taking our window out. So get that bolted up, bolt the window up, and then we'll be ready to test it out. Step back in the way. Slide in the slot, allows that one to line up. Alright. Plug our motor up. Cross back in front of y'all. Alright, go through here and tighten everything back up. Alright, so now we're going to take our tape off our window. And we're going to lower this bad boy down until it lines up. Right there like that. So now we can take and put our bolts back in it. That's actually going to be a little bit low for us. Yep. Alright. So, plan B. We're going to have to plug our door panel back up. Then we're going to bump our window up just a little bit. That way we can get to our bolt holes. And all will be well. Alright, so I'm going to cover this camera up for a minute, trying to scope through here. Set that door panel right there in the way. All right. Pop it back loose. Move out of y'all's way so y'all can see what's going on. Alright. So now we can put our bolts back into our window. Tighten them up. Now these don't have to be just super tight. That's it right there. Alright, so now what we want to do, we want to hook our door panel back up and run this window up and down to make sure everything's gonna do the way it's supposed to. Sometimes you will get in a bind and you'll have to adjust the window some. These plug up. These Hondas ain't too bad about window adjustments. Now if you get into one of your cars that's got, like say, a T-top or whatever, they have all, like your Corvettes, they have just awful amounts of adjustments. So I don't enjoy messing with them. So that's that. She's working. We're gonna go ahead and actually roll her back down because it'll make it easier putting this door panel back on. Move this back out of y'all's way. Now all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our plastic and put it back on. We're gonna put our little bracket back on the door, and we will set our door panel back up there. Alright, so we've got our moisture barrier put back on, and we've got our little bracket screwed back on the panel. And that's one of the great things about cutting that glue with a razor blade, is when you get ready to put your plastic back on, the glue is going to stick to itself, so that way you don't have to put a bunch of tape or anything crazy like that on there. So now we're ready for our door panel. Once we get everything on our door panel hooked back up, it's actually going to slide down over this lip right here, so keep that in mind. But we're going to go ahead and hook our wires up, and hook our door handle cable up. See if I can do this without getting y'all's way too much. Plug our little light up. Now when I'm working these door panels, I'm bad about resting them on my foot. That way, when you obviously they're plastic, so you don't want to just sit there and rub them on the ground. So that's something else to keep in mind. Alright, so this metal cable it'll push in. Matter of fact, let me rob y'all real quick. See if I can do this with one hand. I don't want y'all not to understand what's going on here. Alright, so you got your plastic clip there. Well, you can put your metal part in the plastic clip, in this plastic clip. It's going to slide around and lock. That holds it in there. And then your little green piece right here, it's going to slide in just like that, and you're good to go. So now you got to make sure you get on your door lock there, and you'll be good to go. Put y'all back on the stand and we'll get back to it. Alright, got y'all back on the stand. So we got everything hooked up on our door panel. Now we've actually just got to set it on. Like I said, you're going to want to pull your bottom out a little bit and line your top up with that little slot. Make sure your lock is lined up. Pat it down on there. Then you're going to want to check around the edges and make sure your push pins are lined up, which ours are. Once you've got all that checked, everything's looking good. And she's back on. So now we're going to grab our little plastic trim piece right here. Make sure we got her lined up. Pop her back on. Get all our little screws right here. Go ahead and put our two door handle screws back in. Alright, so now what we've got left is going to be our two little trim pieces. This one's going to go right there. This one, there's a little tab that you pry to get this out of there. See if I can get y'all a good video of it. You're actually wanting to pry that little booger right there back so it'll unlatch and pop out this door. So what we're going to do is push it back in there just like that. And now we'll try our window out. And there she is. So hopefully that'll help some of y'all out. We're going to get some cleaner and clean this window up, door panel up, make it look nice and pretty. And this one will be ready to go. So if you found this useful, hit that like button. If you want to see some more of my content, hit subscribe. All that really helps me out. If you got recommendations, if you like what I'm doing, hey, let me know in the comments. If you don't like what I'm doing, let me know in the comments. I'm trying to get better, get better results for y'all. So let me know. Y'all have a good day.